Time for another edition of the Daily Racing Form Weekend Preview. I am Gino Buccola alongside my good friend Scott Shapiro. Scott, for this week, we're going to head out west, Santa Anita. I got some home court advantage here. This is where my mom and dad met each other at Santa Anita. You and I have spent many days out there in Arcadia, California, and they've got a big weekend ahead. It's sort of like the last round of prep races for horses running in the Breeders' Cup this weekend, and in the next couple of weekends, we're going to see some big horses running.
Yeah, we might not see the tip top of some of the divisions that'll skip the preps, but it'll be those next tier. A lot of them looking to win spots in, a lot of them looking to get races to propel them for a big run in the Breeders' Cup World Championships.
Yeah, kind of like those qualifiers, right? These are some of the teams that might be in like those conference tournaments that are trying to win a game at the end and see if they can make their way in some of the big races in the Breeders' Cup. So let's go over to Santa Anita in just a moment. But before we do, oh man, these great weekends like Saturdays and Sundays where you're able to kick back, play big races, play college football, play NFL games coming up on week 4. Last week, Scott, I was on the wrong side of 6 games. There were 7 that flipped in the last 3 minutes of a game, and I was on the wrong side of 6 of them out of the 7. So the bad luck has continued on over into football, but we're going to turn it around this weekend because all of you can get up to $5,000 in those sportsbook offers when you head to drf.com and check the Bet on Sports section. Scotty, grade 1 action at Santa Anita, and we go to race number 9 with the grade 1 Goodwood to kick things off. And you were pointing out you don't have a journalism. There's no fierceness. There's no Nisos. They would have been some of the big name horses out in the West Coast in a race like this. So it opens it up a little bit. Bob Baffert has 3 horses. One of them that's been really disappointing this year, though, was very good as a 2-year-old and just has not taken the step forward, was Gaming. He won a 3-horse race, a 4-horse field in the Affirmed. He beat 3 other rivals there, and it was just an easy race when he got the lead. I just don't know where he is right now, and I think I prefer both of the other Baffert runners than him in here.
Yeah, this is just looks to me as a classic horse that peaked early. Peaked as a 2-year-old, won the Del Mar Futurity, was supposed to win on debut and did so. Has not taken a step forward. His one win, not only was it a 4-horse field, but he had everything his way loose on the lead. Last out, you see third in a stake race. Don't be fooled. This horse is up against it.
Next up is Ultimate Gamble. He was also third in a stakes race. He was also well beaten, but he was behind 2 really nice horses, Scott, in the Pacific Classic, in fierceness, in journalism. He ran his race. He just wasn't quite good enough to keep up with those 2. He probably fits a little bit better in here, but he's still got to improve to get the better of like the top horses in this group.
Yeah, he's run a lot of races in a row, so whether he has some more upside to improve, but that was a much better field, the Pacific Classic, even than in this field, but let alone the Shared Belief. So this is a horse that's bred to be fat, bred to be, want more ground. Hasn't necessarily shown it thus far. I wouldn't be shocked if he runs a decent race and maybe hits the board.
Next up is Privman. He's never run a bad race, Scott. He's really figuring things out. We can tell he's green. He's like learning. So if we're watching the replay here, right as he hits the front, he starts to lug in and then he kind of comes back out and he lugs in again. So he's still learning. And this is something that happens with young horses when they figure it out, how to switch leads, how to change leads sometimes, and just really how to be the most efficient version of themselves as possible. He's obviously got ability, Scott, because he battles back after he looked like he was done, and he wins that race, and he's moving in the right direction. I'm kind of curious where they put him in the race. Do they try to get him on the lead and maybe push full Serrano? He's kind of an in-betweener because I think he does want to sit off a little bit. I went back and forth with him, kind of hemming and hawing. What do we do with Privman in here?
Well, he always takes money, but he might not today, or he might not on Saturday, I should say. But went off as the favorite in those 2 races at Del Mar. You really do like to see the fact that he showed that grit and determination when it looked like he was beat. Probably the most positive experience that he's had, the buyer, the career best, I believe. So Privman, who are a former Daily Racing Form national correspondent, Hall of Fame member as well, I think he can hit the board in here. I think a win. I think he's still learning, like you said. A win is asking a lot.
Seems like there are 2 horses, Scott, that are kind of on the top tier in this race. First Mission and Full Serrano for different reasons. First Mission has been a really solid grade 2 type horse over the last couple years for Brad Cox. He's never won a grade 1, but he's been in some really good races and he's kept some solid company. This is his most recent race, Scott. And this is the one that's kind of a head scratcher, and that's really disappointing because he was a heavy favorite in this race at Monmouth Park, and he just got beat right on the square by a horse named Surface to Air, who just went by him. And First Mission tried to battle back, and he just wasn't good enough. Now, his first 3 races this year, they're all really, really good. And I have no problem with anything he did in those races. But I go to that last race, and now he's going to be a short price coming off that disappointing effort. It isn't the easiest thing to swallow as a gambler, taking a short price after a disappointing effort like that.
I mean, this horse to me is Mr. Disappointment because I was a big fan from the get-go. And I remember when he was supposed to run in the Preakness, he was a
Yep.
little bit behind on the
He's
Derby.
drawn to the outside. I think he was going to be the second choice against National Treasure, right?
One of the biggest wagers I've had recently in the future pool at 8-1. I thought this horse, I mean, it was no National Treasure got faster later on. First Mission would have been in a very good spot, would have been about 2-1. So we have that. And then I thought he was going to, peaking in the Stephen Foster. Now, I know he ran third to 2 really good horses, but he was a well-beaten third. He really showed no fight. This is just not the kind of horse. Shipping out to California, too. Weird move here. I know Brad Cox has other horses running in those races at home in Kentucky, but, I don't know if they're good enough. Just kind of a weird spot for First Mission here as the favorite.
Yeah, he's one of the more accomplished horses in the race for sure. So if he were to show up with one of those good efforts, a lot of these horses aren't in that caliber quite yet, or they haven't proven to be. But yeah, I just don't know if we've seen some of his best races. I'm with you, just a little disappointing overall. We move to Nevada Beach. Scott, I thought of the price horses, he might be a little bit interesting because while he's lightly raced and he only beat a field of 3 other rivals last time out, he's a horse who can sit back, who can pass horses, and I don't think distance will be a problem for him at all. And they actually have a website, it's called First.TV, where you can watch some of these horses work out in the mornings. And Nevada Beach and Privman have been working together for Bob Baffert. I think Nevada Beach has been going better, and most recently when they were working together. That's just practice in the morning, right? That's training. That's different than what happens in the afternoon. I actually think of the Bafferts, I might like Nevada Beach the most based on the price he might be and the trip he could sit in here.
Yeah, late start to the career for a Baffert, but puts him in 2 turns right away. Most of Bob's most accomplished horses.
That's a great point.
Debuts sprinting. So, showing right away that this horse needs ground. He showed it last out in the 1 1/8, even watching it. I think he fits well here. I don't think 12-1 is realistic.
Express Train is the old classy vet. He's an 8-year-old now, Scott, and he has run pretty well in 3 of his last 4 races. He's hit the board, but he has not won since 2010. So he's 0 for his last 10 now. He's coming out of, right? Or 2022, excuse me. He's 0 for his last 10. He has not won since 2022 and in the big cap. So a few years ago, Scotty. So now when you get to like 10 races, when you can't win, even when you're running well, that's where I start wondering if you lost a little bit of that win instinct.
Yeah, I think he still got it to an extent, and he could definitely hit the board. I'm going to be against him. The fact that the horse hasn't won since, like you said, March of 2022, 10 races, and that's a long time in longevity as well. He's a pass for me.
I got a lot of grays in the last few years since this guy's run. As a 5-year-old son,
no comment.
Bringing those grays in, Scotty. Let's round things out with Full Serrano. This guy has a real chance to just run away and hide from this field. I mean, he is really, really fast. He won the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile last year. He was maybe more impressive in the Pacific Classic when he was very fast and kept glowing to finish second that day. So he just seems like he's drawn well. He got a nice, easy prep, and he came back to work right after that, Scott. He looks like the horse to catch and beat.
Yeah, he does to me as well. Second off the bench here, dominant last out. I guess you could ask where he has been after the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile victory. That's the one knock I could have, or maybe he gets caught up in a speed duel, but he looks like the one to beat.
And as we move to selections in here, it looks like there are those 2 horses that feel like the 2 that'll take a lot of money. You've got the 4 First Mission. You've got the 7 Full Serrano. I'm going to look for a little bit of value, Scott. If I can get like 6-1 or above on Nevada Beach, I think that might be worth taking a swing. So I'm going to go 5, 4, 7, 3 with my selections. I think you were leaning on Full Serrano, right?
Yeah, I got Full Serrano, but I understand taking a chance. This horse is not foolproof, and First Mission likely to get over bet.
Don't go anywhere. A couple more graded stakes races to preview from Santa Anita.
Aaron Rodgers, 2-year stint with the Jets that he'll never want to remember when he goes into the Hall of Fame. He'll just say, please don't mention that. Now he's with Pittsburgh, and he had his best game since Green Bay. Is it 5, right? Am I right about that, Sam? I don't want to screw this up, too. 4 touchdown passes. Yeah, I've screwed up again. 4 touchdown passes against the New York Jets. Buy or sell, Aaron Rodgers will finish the season as a QB1, a 12-team league, top 12 fantasy quarterback. Buy or sell.
The cop out here is he stays healthy, yes, right? He'll do it. They're not asking a lot. Top 12. Purdy's already not going to be top 12, right? He's already going to miss this week, probably another week, maybe as much as 5. They've said. So you knock him out there. There'll be other quarterbacks that get hurt, so you knock them out. I don't think he'd ever get top 5, top 6, top 8. But the 9 to 12, I hate to say it, he wasn't bad last year with the Jets, right? They didn't win games, but he wasn't bad. He had it when he played. He was a good, solid quarterback. He can still sling it. He still can. I'm the first to admit those 4 touchdowns. It wasn't like he had a monster game. A couple of his interceptions were dropped. That should have been picked off there. It seems like he did complete more for touchdowns. A couple of breakdowns by the Jets as well. So I don't see him really as going to win a league for you. But I'm going to buy this if he stays healthy. Hell, just give me 15 games, and I think he can be top 12. So I'll buy this.
I'm going to sell it. Yeah. I mean, games against the Browns and games against the Ravens. And look, I don't know if the Jets defense is as bad as they've showed. If it is, then this may be his best game of the season. So, yeah, I'm going to sell. I think he's on the outside of this looking in.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
Sticking at Santa Anita because it's a big Saturday, graded stakes action. You also want to check out some of the new wagers they have, too, that combine races from Santa Anita and Gulfstream. Scott, I know you've been doing some analysis on DRF.com, some of those Sunset Pick 6 wagers, and they actually combine the last 3 races from Santa Anita and the last 3 from Gulfstream. One of those races is race 10 on Saturday at Santa Anita. It's the John C. Harris, a big field of 3-year-old fillies going down that unique hillside turf course at Santa Anita, Scott. And I think we start out with one of the horses to beat in here. That's Warming. She ships over for Graham Motion from the East Coast, where she's been at Saratoga, facing better horses than what she'll be facing on Saturday. If you look at Graham Motion, just over the last year when he's been shipping horses into Southern California, he's 5 for 15. He's won with 33% of them. He just knows the horses that are going to come over here and run well. And she did have some legitimate trouble in her last start as well.
Yeah, I think she might have some trouble again here, though. Down the hill, off the pace, along the rail, a little bit tough. You could argue she's better sprinting because she won on debut sprinting, but she hasn't really improved since then.
I have her as an under horse too, Scott. I think she's going to get a little over bet as well. Practical Dream seems like one of the speed horses in here. She was speed and fade in her only race on the grass.
Yeah, she's up against it because there's a lot of other speed, or at least some other speed. And again, rather be the outside speed than the inside speed down the hillside turf course.
Number 3, Shill Flight. I chased this filly a few times earlier in the year, Scott. Like, I want to like her a little bit more than I do. Her last 4 races on paper just aren't very good. She hasn't hit the board, and she hasn't shown that improvement.
Yeah, I would say I hope you had her last time she won, but she was 3-2 that day. I struggle to see how she wins this one.
I do like Innovative in this spot. Generally, horses that run well going a mile and that can show a little bit of speed going a mile, they perform well going on this 6.5 down the hill, Scott. And she sat just behind the leader. She got a nice opening. She angled out, and she beat a rival in this race, Eiffel, who had maybe a little bit of trouble in that one. But I thought Innovative just ran solid, and I think she's a very good fit in here.
I do too. I think the cutback will be good. And like you said, the one thing that everybody should think about are all these 6.5 furlong races at Santa Anita, much different than the 5 furlong races. A lot of times better off to have the foundation of the 2-turn races instead on the cutback. I like Innovative as well.
Lee's Baby Girl was claimed by trainer Carla Gaines for $50,000 back in February. She was off for a while, and she showed up in September. She was pretty impressive, winning at 15-1. She sat just off it, Scott. I think in this race, she'll probably be more on the lead, and this is kind of one of the things you're talking about with the difference between 5 furlongs and 6.5. So we'll have to see if she can get the 6.5, but we see her here winning at 5.
Carla Gaines, a patient trainer. This horse ran well for her early. She's not known for winning at first, second asking necessarily. And oh, that was Doug O'Neill. So I do apologize on that part. But Carla has this filly in the right spot now. $50,000 claim, 2 straight wins now, moving up in class.
Yeah, she's very, very good with these turf horses. We move to Cassaloo, who you kind of think about the opposite with Bob Baffert, right? You don't think about Baffert with turf horses, but this filly's been very solid, Scott. I think she might have just been facing too tough of company against grade one foes last time out. Now cuts back down the hill. She should be in the mix early and maybe throughout.
Yeah, those were tough fields she faced. The grade one Del Mar Oaks, an 11-horse field. Obviously, Bob Baffert, knowing that she's probably not sharp enough to go 5, had her going 2 turns. Now she probably gets back to what she does best.
Don't Tell Our Wives will try the turf one more time. The Dam did win on the turf and a couple winning turf sibs, but she's going to have to improve a little bit to compete with this field.
Yeah, she's a big price for a good reason. The one thing I'll point to, she never got back to going to the turf, but she did debut there. So maybe Leonard Powell all along thought she was a turf horse and ran her on the dirt for different reasons.
Favor to You, Scott, is a horse that you can isolate her sprint races, and then all of a sudden her form looks even better. If you just cross out those 2 races going a mile on the grass, she all of a sudden looks like a horse who hasn't really done too much wrong. I don't know what they are going to do from a running style standpoint. She's probably going to have to be coming from off the pace a little bit, but it's a decent spot for her, and I think she's more of a sprinter.
Yeah, Juan Hernandez, obviously very capable of working out a trip here. He'll need to do so from probably mid-pack, but both of her wins have come over the surface.
I went back and forth with Eiffel. I do think she fits in this race. She wins her career debut, and then she has some trouble in her second start. Third start, Scott, she got caught down on the inside in a race that was won by a big long shot who got loose on the lead. She didn't really get much of a chance throughout a lot of the race. She was a little flat late and maybe a little disappointing when she got some room, but if you watch her workouts in the morning too, she is seriously talented. She just hasn't really put it all together yet. Do you think she might be able to on Saturday?
She might, I prefer the one that beat her 2 back and Innovative. I think you do as well, but she definitely ran well and finished well in that lone sprint. Maybe down the hill is just what she's looking for.
My only concern would be she's gotten bet in her last couple races. So if she gets bet again, I wouldn't necessarily want to play her. But if she is in that 6-8 to 1 range, that's a very fair price for her in a spot like this. 1,000 miles seems like another one that might be overmatched, Scott. Her only grass race was at Turf Paradise.
Yeah, 50 to 1 on the morning line, and no disrespect to the connections for giving it a shot, but I think for good reason.
Wink and a Grin fits with this group on class. The problem is, Scott, she comes from way out of it, and she's cutting back from a mile. So she might be so far behind this group early on.
We like the cutbacks coming down the hill, but not necessarily ones that lack speed at all.
Yep.
They really need things to go their way to get the job done.
Tight squeeze, unfortunately, had that happen last time out right at the start of the race. Got squeezed back, was in between horses, had to come from about 6 lengths off. I thought she closed pretty well that day, going 5 furlongs, Scott. She's a little bit sneaky and kind of interesting going a little longer here at 6.5.
Yeah, if you dive in, I think you could definitely have reason to believe that further than 5 furlongs might work out well for her. You get Paco Lopez, or is he going to be riding out there? That's an interesting
I don't
point.
think so. Yeah, I think he's going to be appealing because he's suspended as of now. So we'll see how that process is going to work out with the horse racing integrity and say, yeah, the HISA. He's Scott, as we round things out with Me So Fancy, this is an honest Calbred, grade 3 place, gets back to turf, and will make the 3rd start of her form cycle. She's way out wide in here, though. Can she compete with a group like this?
Well, I don't know if she's good enough at this Calbred, but one thing I'll say is she might get the trip that works out very well. She's got tactical speed, so she won't be way out of it, and she'll keep herself out of trouble. When you're coming down the hill from the outside, it can work out very, very well.
It is a wide open race to close things out. I thought you could make cases for many in here, Scott, but we both made cases for the very same one. Innovated. Talk us through Innovative a bit.
Yeah, I just think it was nice to see that she relaxed. I don't love horses that need the lead coming down the hill going 2 turns, but the fact that she can relax, the finish should be much stronger this time around. The type of horses that I think you and I both like to bet down the hill.
Both on the 4 Innovated, 4-12-6-1 for Scott. It'll be 4-9-1-6 for me. Don't go anywhere. One more graded stakes to preview at Santa Anita.
two favorites are still the two favorites. So for me, it's just whether or not you got Herbert at a better price, or if you think there's a better price to get at this point. But I mean, with the way Josh Allen plays and generally Lamar Jackson, it still does appear to be a two-player race. The only thing, obviously, this is an injury league, Adam, and in the NFL, an injury that keeps you out 4 or 5 games, all of a sudden, those odds will shift.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Talk to me. Who are some of the guys? What are the keys for a victory here?
Well, Joe, I mean, we have this one player. I mean, it's like having Tom Brady at quarterback in the Super Bowl. We've got Scotty Scheffler. I think the first key is that, and this is going to sound crazy, but I think we should play him in all 5 matches. I'm just throwing it out there. 15 wins in 2 years. We got to get him out there.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
They know the minutia of game time decisions, when to call timeouts, when the kick, go for 2, and all that other stuff better than the head coaches, because the head coaches aren't watching 30, 35 games like sports fans are between college football and the NFL. All the head coaches are doing are watching game films. They may be watching 30 game films, but they're not watching game management. So the fan does know.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Everything changed at that point. They went and got Jonquel Jones, and they really had that triple threat monster team. That second year they lost in the WNBA Finals, 3-1 against the Las Vegas Aces. Year 3, they finally get over the top hump. And you can question whether they should have won the title with that foul call late in Game 5 that sent Breanna Stewart to the foul line.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
For our final segment, we're going to preview the City of Hope Mile. That's race 4 on Saturday at Santa Anita. But before we do, we want to let all of you know about a new daily racing form product. It's called DRF Newbie. You want to check this out on your mobile device, newbie.drf.com. It simplifies the past performances. If you ever opened up a daily racing form, there's a lot of numbers. It's can be really confusing if you haven't looked at it before. This puts things into charts. It's a lot more visual. It makes it very easy for you to understand if you're new to the game, if you're just learning, and then it'll help you take that step forward onto the other past performances. Newbie.drf.com. Scott, I always got to give a shout out when the City of Hope Mile runs, because City of Hope in Duarte, one of the leading cancer hospitals, place saved my life back in 2010. So I'm still here because of the City of Hope, and that will be one of the big stakes races this weekend at Santa Anita. And really, it's all going to come down to which version of Johannes are we going to see. The number 3 Johannes ran in the Breeders' Cup last year and was one of the best horses in this division, finishing second in the Breeders' Cup Mile. He loves Santa Anita, but he's only run one time this year, and it was disappointing. He went to Saratoga. He had some trouble in that race, but even after the trouble, he didn't really fire one of his better shots. What do we do kind of starting with him, Johannes, because he's the horse in this race that we have to have the conversation about?
Absolutely, and this is a horse I'm a huge fan of. I love them in the Breeders' Cup Mile, and generally speaking, California-based horses have not had a lot of success in those types of big races, the Breeders' Cup. But that last race was discouraging. He was off. He comes back. He can definitely win this race. He's the likeliest winner, but this is a gambling game, and I think he's a poor bet on Saturday.
Let's start from the inside here with Zio Joe, Scott. This guy is grade 1 placed. And the way that I'm kind of handicapping this race now, if you're trying to beat Johannes, I'm looking at the field as the rest of this field is pretty evenly matched. If you're looking at speed figures and comparing them, Zio Joe, Final Boss, Almendaris, Cabo Spirit, I think can all win if you're looking against Johannes. Zio Joe was really disappointing and kind of flat last time out when finishing 4th. I think from the inside should be able to save ground, sit like 3rd, maybe move ahead of Johannes and get the trip in here. He's a very big price, but when I kind of take Johannes out of this race, I sort of looked at the rest of this field like they're pretty evenly matched, and I'm going to take a swing with a big price horse who I think can sit the trip in here, Scott. So he needs to get a little lucky. Things need to break right for him, but he should be able to save ground down on the inside at a big price.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, in terms of trip, I could totally see that. He obviously has to prove he's capable of beating a field like this, but like you said, he's going to be a big price.
we move to Scooby Quando. This would be the real surprising horse in the race to me. He just seems like he's the longest shot in the field and a little bit overmatched.
Yeah, this was horse one on debut at Turfway Park at a point when I was covering it at Turfway Park. He was a very good all-weather horse in Kentucky for a little while, but has not really moved forward, and now he's in the Michael McCarthy barn for his second start.
And even though I'm betting against him in the win end, Scott, I'd love to see Johannes bounce back. He was 7 for 7 at Santa Anita over the last few years, and he is a Grade 1 winner and a 5-time graded stakes winner. He's just a really cool horse.
Yeah, 7 for 7 over the course. He, would be his races last year, I'm sure, would fit pretty well in this year's Breeders' Cup Mile. I wish him the best.
It looks like in this field of 6, you have 2 speed horses. I think Final Boss might be a little quicker. Cabo Spirit is maybe the more proven, kind of classier of those speed horses. He can sit off a little bit. Do you think that's the case? And how do you kind of project it with those two?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think Final Boss is faster. I think the fact that he's inside will lead to a little bit more aggressive ride. And I'm very much willing to forgive the Del Mar handicap. That was a mile and 3/8. I think stretching his speed a little too far.
Cutting back to a mile should really help him. Almendares is capable of some big efforts, Scott. If you're just looking at speed figures, he actually has some of the better in this field. He still hasn't won a big race yet. No graded stakes wins for him. So he's hoping to get a victory like this because he's been more of an underneath type in the big races.
Yeah, he ran second last year to Johannes in this race. He should get a pretty good off-the-pace trip. But the win probability for him, that restricted $100,000 race last time, nowhere near as good as this field.
Cabo Spirit rounds out the field. This guy was good early in his career. Then he tailed off for a while, and now he's bounced back. His last 5 races, he has a grade 3 win, second in a graded stakes, a couple third-place finishes. He's just really honest. He's going to fight you, Scott, but he does seem like he kind of needs the lead or he needs a particular race to get the win.
Yeah, he really needs things his way going a mile in a slow pace. I think he's a little better going longer. He won the John Henry on this card last year, which is a mile and a quarter in wire-to-wire fashion. I think he's up against it for the reasons you mentioned, the way the race shapes up.
As we round things out, Johannes is going to be the one to beat. Scott and I will both take a little shot, though, with some prices. Scott, you're going to go to Final Boss, hoping can get some speed out front. 4-3-5-6 for Scott, 1-3-5-6 for me with Zio Joe on top. Check out Santa Anita this weekend. Graded stakes action, new wagers that connect from Santa Anita to Gulfstream Park. Everything you need. Have a fun Saturday playing the races. Good luck.
Jalen Hurts is a very good quarterback, and quite frankly, he doesn't get enough grace, I should say, for saying, I win football games. Like, what would you rather? We go play Mahomes, and, oh, man, 41-40, Hurts, 375, 4 touchdowns, they lost. Boy, that guy's good. Or no, hey, you know what? I'm going to play within myself. I'm not going to turn the football over. I'm going to play within the game script here, and we're just going to win. Doesn't matter who gets the accolades.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The biggest games, the biggest bets that you need to know. So much fun already, Joe. I feel
Yeah,
like
I'm
we got
having a good
lot of
time.
information
Love
now.
it. Yeah. Good games, not great, but again, it's college football. You can bet on them, nothing better.
Bet it, win. By the way, and I always like to say this, and it's true. Like, you can have the worst game in the world. You cash your ticket, it's like a Picasso. Like, that game was the best game I ever watched in my life.
Are you kidding?
Exactly.
Especially when you're hitting parlays.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Two favorites are still the two favorites. So for me, it's just whether or not you got Herbert at a better price or if you think there's a better price to get at this point. But I mean, with the way Josh Allen plays and generally Lamar Jackson, it still does appear to be a two-player race. The only thing, obviously, this is an injury league, Adam, and in the NFL, an injury that keeps you out 4 or 5 games, all of a sudden, those odds will shift.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.